Cape Cod Broadcasting weaves the listening environments of 99.9 WQRC, Ocean 104.7, WFCC Classical 107.5, Cape Country 104, and CapeCon.com's website experience to reflect the lifestyles of the people who live, work, and play on Cape Cod. We hope that you enjoy this podcast.
Good morning, I'm Rob Woodard. You are listening to Sunday Journal. Today I'm joined by Cheryl Asimo. She's the Executive Director of the Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition, as well as a co-founder of the Silent Spring Institute. Also joining us is Orfeo Fabri. He's the salon coordinator at Essential Beauty. That's a high-end salon that concentrates on using natural products to keep potentially harmful chemicals off their clients and out of the aquifer. Good morning. Thanks for joining me today.
Morning. Good morning.
So, Cheryl, let me start with you. What is the purpose of the Massed Breast Cancer Coalition?
The Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition was founded in 1991 by a group of women in order to find the preventable causes of cancer. What sets the Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition apart from other breast cancer organizations, both locally and nationally, is our focus on the prevention of the disease. In 1994, we founded our sister organization, Silent Spring Institute, and they have been conducting environmental research right here on Cape Cod to find the correlation between breast cancer and the environment, and we've been very focusing on water research.
Right. And when you say preventable breast cancer, what does that mean? Have you found that there are breast cancers that are preventable?
Well, we know that first of all, on Cape Cod, breast cancer rates are approximately 16% above state average. When we started the research, the stats were about 21% above state average. And we realized that genetically, only 5 to 10% of women are diagnosed with breast cancer due to genetics. And so if only 5 to 10% are diagnosed due to genetics, why are so many other women and men diagnosed with breast cancer? We believe that the environment must be playing a role, and so it's important for us to figure out what could be causing high elevated rates of breast cancer, not only breast cancer, but all cancers and ill health.
And obviously a very serious undertaking that requires a lot of help, obviously with varying experts. So how many participants do you have in the coalition?
We have throughout the state of Massachusetts, over 20,000 supporters.
Okay.
We're not a membership-based organization, but we have many, many supporters that are on our constant contact that we contact regularly. We have a lot of volunteers, and we have a strong following right here on Cape Cod.
Right. And so how did you reach out to these not members, but how did you reach out to the people with whom you associate to pursue your goals? How did they become sort of involved with your organization?
Well, first of all, when we were founded back in 1991 by Ann McGuire, who lives in P-Town now, she decided that it would be an important thing to do to get this organization started and to do all she could to make sure that breast cancer was declared an epidemic here in Massachusetts, and lobbied Governor Weld at the time, and breast cancer was declared an epidemic. Also, we made sure that there were better laws and rules and regulations around mammography centers. Back in the 90s, there were more rules and regulations to open a pizza parlor than there were to do mammography. And so the Mass Breast Cancer Coalition did a lot of important work, and I think that just through word of mouth initially, people realized that we were a little different. These other wonderful organizations that are out there focusing on breast cancer are doing very, very important work, but most of the work that they do is to help people after they're diagnosed. Our focus is what is it that we can do to try to figure out how we can make it possible for people not to be diagnosed in the first place.
Now, when you say that there were more regulations in place to open a pizza parlor than there were to do mammographies, that just sounds outrageous. What are some of the things that your organization helped institute with regard to these mammography centers to help make them maybe safer and more effective?
You know, a lot of what we have to do, what we had to do then and what we have to do now, is to influence people, to make them understand the importance of making sure that people are treated with integrity and decency. Using chemicals, for example, as an example, in this country, we have to prove that chemicals are unsafe in order to take them off the shelves. Rather than them being proven safe before we put them on the shelf, we're very lax In the European countries, approximately 1,200 chemicals have been banned. In the United States, I think there have been 11 chemicals banned. So we're really, really way behind the European countries. And so talking with people, communicating with people, getting your supporters to sign petitions, lobbying your state legislators, all of this is very, very important in order to promote change.
And forgive my ignorance, but is the breast cancer rate in Europe significantly lower than that of here in the United States?
Not significantly, but it is a bit lower, yes.
Okay. And so, Orfeo, this seems like a good time to bring you into the discussion. What are you trying to achieve at your salon? I know that you're focused in on more of a natural products and trying to stay away from the chemically manufactured ingredients in beauty products and shampoos and things of that nature. Do I have that correct?
You do have that correct. We use only Aveda products. And Aveda products are all natural. They don't have any chemicals in them. They're very safe, biodegradable. They're a wonderful product to be using on a daily basis. And what we're trying to do, actually what Becca, the owner, Becca Timbasha, she had contacted she's been working with the MBCC for about the past 12 years because she had noticed that she's had clients that have suffered from breast cancer. She's had a family member who had a double mastectomy. And she also found out, just doing a little bit of research for herself, that the Cape had a lot of, high percentage of the breast cancer. So when she found out and contacted the MBCC, she found out that they were doing environmental testing, and she also found out that there was a solution, and the key to this solution is prevention.
What are your clients telling you? Are your clients even aware that you're doing this? Is this something that you advertise in your promotional materials, or just something that you're making people aware of?
Well, we're doing this fundraiser, and so we are making clients aware of this.
Right. I want to get to the fundraiser later, but what are you hearing from your clients with regard to this, with regard to your efforts to sort of reduce the number of chemicals, not only that you're using on them, but in your wastewater and all of that sort of thing? I would imagine they're supportive?
They're very supportive,
okay.
Yes. They're very, very supportive of this. They realize that it's a problem, and our clients are wonderful. They want to try to do everything that they can to help support and to help support us with our work that we do, our working with their hair, with products. So they're very, very supportive.
Right. And I would imagine that an all-natural product is probably more expensive than something that's made out of synthetics?
Not necessarily. It's comparable. It tends to last longer because it's a little bit I don't want to say it's stronger, but it's you have more of the stuff. A lot of products get watered down, and they have a lot of chemicals, no pun intended, but they have a lot of chemicals in them. So they're not people tend to need to buy them more often because it's not working as well.
And how long have you been in doing this?
I've been in the hair business for over 30 years, but
is this your first experience with this sort of effort, whereby you're trying to reduce the chemicals in the salon itself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So out of 30 years, this is your...
Out of 30 years, it's been since April since I've been working with Aveda products.
Right.
And with Becca Timbasha.
Right. And Cheryl, I know that the Silent Spring Institute, obviously you're a co-founder there. What is the coalition's relationship? What are the relationships between the two organizations?
The Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition, as I said, was founded in 1991, and our focus is education and advocacy. And when we found out that the cancer rates back in the early 90s were 21% above state average, we lobbied our state legislature so that we could do environmental research on breast cancer here on Cape Cod. And so MBCC does the education and the advocacy, and Silent Spring does the research. And so we do some of the lobbying to ensure that they have the funding that they need. I mean, our researchers they should be doing the research. They shouldn't be the ones trying to find the money to do the research. That's our job. And we have a great team of constituents, citizens throughout the state of Massachusetts that work hard to ensure that they do have the funding they need. We just took a big hit recently. The state did not give us funding to continue to build upon the research we've been.
The state didn't give the Mass Breast Cancer Coalition?
Silent Spring Institute.
Oh, Silent Spring. Okay. Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing is the Silent Spring Institute is sort of the research arm.
Correct.
And then you take that information, you pass it along to the Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition, and then they take the information and then they go to Beacon Hill and they lobby for legislation or funding to further the coalition's agenda. I don't want to say agenda, but desires.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they do their own education outreach as well. Mm-hmm. We do as much as that as we can. But again, we want our researchers to be doing the research. Oftentimes researchers, in the past have gotten very discouraged because they can't get the funding that they need to do the research. Or they start doing research and they can't finish a project. They can't build upon the research. Mm-hmm. And we're finding that is in fact what's happening at Silent Spring Institute. It's very, very difficult to keep the momentum up, to keep the research going.
I'm Rob Woodard. You're listening to Sunday Journal. Today I'm with Cheryl Asimov. She is the executive director of the Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition, as well as a co-founder of the Silent Spring Institute. Also here is Orfeo Fabri. He is salon coordinator at Essential Beauty. That's a high-end salon that concentrates on using natural products to keep potentially harmful chemicals off their clients and out of the aquifer. So, Cheryl, when you take the findings that you have, and you go up to Beacon Hill, and you're looking for some legislative action or some funding, or just somebody up there to do something in support of your goals, which is to reduce breast cancer. What sort of reception do you generally get?
That's a tough question. It really is. It's not just, I'm not the only one that goes to Beacon Hill. For example, this past year, it was our president of the board of directors, Margot Simon Golden, who went, and our water guru, our water researcher, Dr. Laurel Shader, and they met with the Cape delegation. They talked with them. They explained what kind of research we felt we needed to do to continue to keep this going. Again, to continue to build upon the research and the foundation we've been building over these past 2 decades. And we really thought that they understood, and we were hoping to be able to obtain some funding. And it didn't happen. There were other groups that did receive funding to do water research on the Cape, but not the drinking water. Which is really quite concerning. And so I do believe that our Cape delegation tried. We didn't succeed. We'll be back to try again, but it is quite discouraging.
Right. And what about, you say that you have members of the Mass Breast Cancer Coalition all over the state.
Absolutely.
Obviously, they're lobbying their representatives as well. Okay.
Yes.
And how are they faring any better than we are here on Cape, or?
I think that, we come together as a team. Mm-hmm. And so what the goal is when you are trying to obtain funding, for example, this year we were trying to obtain funding for here on Cape Cod and also to obtain funding for central Massachusetts, where they have some very serious water issues. And we wanted to do a comparative study. And so people in Massachusetts lobbied their representatives no matter where they lived in Massachusetts. And when they go on the House floor, they all come together and they vote. We didn't make it. We were hoping we'd be able to pull it off in the state budget. We didn't make it there either. So it's sad that drinking water isn't a priority in the state. And I don't really quite get it, to be honest with you. I continue to be discouraged, but at the same time, we won't give up because we have a job to do. It's important that citizens of Massachusetts and in Cape Cod have clean drinking water. And Silent Spring Institute is dedicated, and we are definitely going to continue to strive towards our goal to continue to do this research. On a good note, I just want to say that we did just receive a $40,000 grant from Mass Environmental Trust. They have been a long-time supporter of water quality research. And so, by the way of background, we will be studying perfluorinated chemicals, also called PFCs, in wastewater and drinking water. And just to share this piece, PFCs are persistent organic compounds that have been found widely in the environment and in people, which raises concerns about human and ecological health, and they're found in many consumer products that are non-toxic, that are non-stick, grease-proof, water and stain-resistant, Scotch Guard, Teflon, even pizza box liners. So
what? Okay, this is obviously. So this is what you're finding. You're finding that in the aquifer, these chemicals are somehow finding their way into the drinking water supply, essentially. So what are some of the things that people can do to prevent these chemicals from trickling, especially here on Cape where we're a single source aquifer?
Right.
So what are some of the things that people should take away from this discussion with regard to the disposal of chemicals?
Okay, so first of all, most often you'll find that what's studied when you study water are nitrogens. And what we're concerned about at Silent Spring Institute is that we need to study emerging contaminants. And there are many, many different emerging contaminants, different kinds of chemicals. And so what people can do, I want to be clear, you shouldn't be flushing your leftover medication down the drain.
Yep.
You should concentrate on trying to use as fewer chemicals as possible. For example, Aveda products have less chemicals than some of these other hair products. And just being conscientious about that. When you can, if you can afford it, try to buy organic fruits and vegetables. Try not to use cleaning products that have chemicals in them. What I want people to take away from this is that, the 50 billion U.S. cosmetic industry routinely opposes laws that would protect consumers and the environment. And we as citizens in Massachusetts and on Cape Cod have to do all we can to promote change for our children and future generations.
Okay. Just a couple minutes left. Orfeo, you want to give me some final thoughts on sort of what your efforts are? And I just can't believe that you've been in the industry for 30 years. And, that it's great that you're using sort of more natural products. You want to give me just some final thought on that?
Final thought on that. I think that awareness is the key to all of this, and it's finally come apparent to me that there is a problem, and that I need to start doing my part.
Right. Okay.
Simply that's about it.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. And Cheryl, I know you have something coming up with the coalition. You want to quickly tell me about that?
Yes, we're very excited. On Saturday, August 16th, we'll be having our swim, walk, run, kayak, aquathon event at Nickerson State Park, Flax Pond. And we hope that people will join us. It's a morning-only event. If you go to mbcc.org/swim or call 1-800-649-6222. We'd love people to join the Essential Beauty team. They're having a great fundraiser on August 7th to raise money for the Essential Walk team for breast cancer prevention. So join us for a day of wellness from 7 to 10 a.m. on August 7th at Essential Beauty right here in Hyannis.
Okay,
Essential Beauty at Atlantis.
Great. Thanks so much. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I'm Rob Woodard. You're listening to Sunday Journal. Today, I was talking with Cheryl Osimo. She's the executive director of the Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition and a co-founder of the Silent Spring Institute. Also joining me was Orfeo Fabri. He is salon coordinator at Essential Beauty. That's a Hyannis salon that concentrates on using natural products. I'm Rob Woodard. This is Sunday Journal.
This podcast is a presentation of Cape Cod Broadcasting, which is solely responsible for its content. Thank you for listening. For more information, please visit us at capecodbroadcasting.com.